Hey guys, Brian here, and today's video I'm going to go ahead and work on the APS M4 SD. This is going to be a quick video on how to take the gearbox out, take it apart, put it all back together in case you need to upgrade, repair, or do anything else like that. So make sure you guys share this video with your friends who may need this video. And if you're looking for another video for me to work on, like a G&G, Crytek, Echo, anything else like that, go ahead and comment below and let me know, and that could be the next video I work on. I'm going to do a whole series of these to help you guys out. So stay tuned and enjoy. Okay, this is the APS M4. I'm going to go ahead and take it apart. I haven't taken one apart in a while, so off the top of my head I don't know all the tools I'll need, but I have a good selection, and I'll let you know what I'm using while I take it apart. So first up, make sure there's no battery inside. There already isn't. Just take off the crane stock, like any other M4 crane stock, just pull that down and put it over there. You're going to notice a fuse and a regular Tamiya plug, and some sockets right here. So let's go ahead and take off the upper buffer tube and the stock. So I'm going to use a regular punch pin and just gently tap, pull that through, and put it over there. I'll put the small parts on that paper towel, and then might as well get the rear one and out. And I'm just basically going to slide like so. And for the APS series, it looks like only the front body pin secures it. The rear body pin is for the gearbox. So front body pin, take it out, and let's look at the hop unit. What's in there? So, and there could be other versions of APS, but if you have an APS brand or some other OEM for it, this will help you. So essentially you have a metal hop unit, which is cool. And it looks like a heavy-duty aluminum barrel. So, cool. Let's go ahead and put that back in there and put the upper aside. If you guys want me to do a video on hop-up units, let me know, but there's probably a bunch already out there, so this video might be for APS. Okay, let's go ahead and take out the buffer tube. Let's see. It is a large Phillips. So I'm going to use a Phillips screwdriver, and we'll look down there. Okay. Wires are in the way, so it's hard to find access. Cool, that comes out. And shake it. Cool. Just like a Tokamarui Echo Classic Army. Basically, a little screw and a washer. Go ahead and take the buffer tube off, slide it through, and put it aside. The sling loop. Note, the castle nut is just fake. It's not adjustable. Nothing bad. Okay, let's go ahead and take off the pistol grip. Pistol grip, it's going to be like a tango down type grip. It's kind of already upgraded. That's kind of cool. And of course, you're going to notice the large flathead for motor height. That's a plus, and the heat sinks. That's cool. Okay. Okay. Well, that one's longer. Okay, the little screw magnetized. So 2 screws, and this will slide up. Cool. No motor plate because it has the large set screw. And interesting, I noticed there's red wire in the front, black wire in the back. It's still springy. That's fine. As long as the motor's springy, that's fine. If it's jammed, like say if you did this on a Classic Army, Tokamarui, or an Echo, it would bind up. But some aftermarket grips, they have this, so that's fine. As long as the motor's springy, you're good. If the jam it in there, you're not doing it right. So take out the motor. Doesn't really stick, but okay. And of course, 2 screws down here, like a regular M4. This will be basically the same as every other M4. The only tricky part will be the bolt release and then also the blowback function if you're taking this apart. So wiggle the wires out, and looks like the 2 screws are still in there, so that's cool. Put that aside. Like I was mentioning, the blowback, you have this option. Basically every time the piston goes back, this will slide back. So you get that cool function. But it could be tricky if you're working on it. So let's take it apart more. I'm going to go ahead and take out this pin. I'm going to check. See? Oh, I was right. Little ribs on one side. Pop that out. Okay, I'm going to use a small Phillips for the mag release. Just press in and twist. Mag release, little screw, the spring, and the mag bar. Put those aside. Cool. Okay, gearbox is wiggling, but it's not coming out because it's stuck on the bolt release. So kind of like a BFC, you're gonna notice you can almost get it out, but it's getting caught on this little part. So what you want to do is you're going to use a delicate little punch pin, but this is like a, ooh, it's tricky. You're going to want to just gently tap it. And since it's like actually a roll pin and not like a regular pin, I would say leave it in there a little, just so you don't have to like force it in next time. And kind of like a VFC, he had this little bar that interacts with the bolt catch, so that's why you can't just yank it out. So be gentle with that. And take out those wires. And remember, I kept the little pin in there just so I don't lose it because it's small and easy. Okay, now for the mag release. Okay, now for the gearbox. Let's check this out. So you have the blowback function. Basically goes all the way back when you pull the charging handle. And when you hit the bolt catch, it will actually come down like so. But you notice back here, that's the part on the piston that pulls. Cool, you have the spring guide. This is how you can quick change spring guide. You still have to take the gearbox out. Unfortunately, I do not have a large Allen key, but I can maybe jimmy rig something. No. Wouldn't suggest doing this in case it explodes on you, but I cheated and I used a pair of pliers, jammed it in there, and was able to rotate basically like that and control it and use these notches to get out. So it's cool, you have a metal base spring guide, polymer, and regular spring. So technically I could leave this how I want and put a harder spring or weaker spring and keep on playing without opening it up. But in case I want to change it or show you guys what's on the inside, I have to take it apart more. Okay, I'm going to use a flathead and take this off. Now there's a little section here to make room for the material on the spade bolt, so this is kind of proprietary. Don't lose that. And it comes off. Okay, there's a small little spring and a hook. Now you want to be careful that this little hook doesn't break off, or this little piece right here. But if this does break off, because it's aluminum, you could always re-drill another little hole and make that hook if needed. So just be gentle with this. Okay, cool. I don't have to take this off. I can leave it because I can access that screw, and that little spring is held in by a pin. That's kind of tricky. So let me go ahead and continue taking this apart. Okay, so let's go ahead and open this. There's no spring tension, the spring's out, so I'm just going to press on here, just force a habit. and wiggle. Okay, and notice it's caught a little on this front pin for the spring, but pretty easy to open up. Okay, let's check this out. Looks pretty standard. Remember the first generation M4s by APS weren't standard, but this looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and take out the other parts and check them out and put it back together. Okay, so you have the piston. It should still be their palm material, but it's pretty good. It's very lightweight. And you have the tappet plate. Cool, pretty flexible, nice. You have the air seal nozzle. I see a little O-ring in there, and it's like a metal. That's nice. One O-ring and M4 type cylinder. Let's put that aside. Basically take this all apart and put it back together. So regular gears, nothing crazy about the gears. They're not super torque speeds, just standard. Looks like maybe 18s, cast steel. It's cool. And there's shims, that's good. Okay, take out the trigger, put the trigger over there, and with a small Phillips, I'm going to take off the safety bar. Out. And lift up. Oh, you're stuck. Okay. And pull down. So the safety bar, as you can see, is basically the part that works with the selector plate, the part that works with the trigger, the screw that holds it all together, and the spring that makes it go back to neutral. So put that over there. Okay. And let's go ahead and take out the trigger contact and the wire harness assembly. So another small Phillips, lift up, take the little spring off, wiggle it free. Oh no. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, I cannot take out the wire harness. I'll tell you why. It's not bad. Okay, the trigger contact, it looks like a standard TM, like Marui version 2 spec. That's actually pretty good. Before they were different. So that's cool. APS is step up the game. Trigger contacts still look pretty good. Like they're angled and everything, that's normal. And let's go ahead and take off. Oh, the reason why I can't take the wire harness out, it's actually glued in place. That's weird for a stock gun, but for an upgraded gun, like that's what I do with my own. I glue in place so the motor doesn't interact here and they don't move around, and it makes it easier to work on. So it's kind of a cool feature. I don't think anybody's talked about that, but you already have silicone wire, so you don't really need to change it. Worst case scenario, you have to add like a MOSFET, but you can still use these wires and add an additional small gate wiring. So that's kind of cool. I still have a small screw there, and let's go ahead and take off the cutoff lever. Cutoff lever and the small screw. Oh, I touched the shim. Okay, put those aside. It looks like a regular version 2. Okay. And the spring. Spring for the cutoff lever. Nothing special. Okay. Now, this is kind of like a Tokyo Marui where you have the contacts on the wire harness that work with the selector plate. Like the VFCs don't have that now. It's just one less thing to eliminate from the system, but it's not that bad. It's not bad or good. It just depends on what you're doing. Let me go ahead about plastic ones like this, is you can literally flex it off. Just be gentle, be gentle. You get it, oh, the cutoff lever's there, missing. Okay, let me show you. Essentially, if I have the cutoff lever right here, I can lift up and twist it off, like so. And that's how you can take it off real quick. Put that aside. Okay, let me go ahead and put this back together. Have this small trigger contact, slide that in. The spring and the screw. Slide this in. Okay. A small little screw. Cool. And a little spring. Now for the trigger contact, it doesn't really depend the orientation of the spring, like the loop, if it's centered like that. If you're having issues, you can always flip that spring and it can press down, so it helps the safety. I mean, if the semi-auto is getting stuck sometimes, that could be the issue. Okay, now for the safety parts, I'm going to put those in. Get the small little section. Get the spring. And don't worry, I'll bring it close to the camera. Okay, so for the safety, you basically have the part that works with the selector plate, the bar that works with the trigger here, and the spring that keeps it like that. See a little part of the hook, the spring. And then you have the trigger contact, like that, and the cut-up lever, which is loose. It's tight, the screw's tight, but it's able to move for your semi-auto. Cool. Now let's go ahead and put the trigger back in. And good. Okay, before I forget, let me put the selector plate in. For the selector plate in, I showed you how you can flex it on the back section to get it off. I'm going to basically do the same. And it will lock in place. So you can leave this on, and if you want, you can attach the spring. The little spring, you use a little pick, hold it in place, or you can put it on the plate side, finger. Now you can flip this over, lost some shims, but they go here because that's where I saw them. Okay, now let's go ahead and put this back together. No shims, oh there's one there. Okay, and this is basically showing you if you need to take it apart for whatever reasons. Okay. And the reversal latch. Reversal latch is regular version 2. Put that in there. Oh, I didn't even notice the little spring, a little hole for it. Okay, I'm just going to press down on the axle so the reversal latch isn't moving, and drop the bevel gear in. So let me just spin it. It's going in place. Cool. Okay, now cylinder head, nozzle, insert, put on the tappet plate, and the spring, just like that. Go ahead and put the piston in, and you can do the little compression check. Cool, that's good. You always want to make sure that it's able to move. If it's jammed in there too tight, like say if you put it on a different piston head and an O-ring, and it doesn't move freely, that could be a problem. So go ahead and see if you can see it. I'm going to slide this down like so, and make sure that the wire here, or the spring here for the trigger contact, doesn't hit these little bars on the tappet plate. It kind of goes in the middle. And then also you can slide this forward, and you want to attach the spring right here. Just like that. So now if you press and tap a plate, if this sector here is spinning, you pull it back, load, fire, load, fire. So that's kind of cool. Okay, now since there's no spring or spring guide, there's very little tension to put this back together. Make sure the wires are fine. Trigger this and flip this over. Make sure there's no loose shims or anything, and drop it down. Now before I close it, this is a step that you don't find in other guns. You're going to have this small little spring that works with the fake bolt. So what you have to do, well, actually let me do a close-up of this, this will be interesting. So you have your piston like this, sliding. This is how the blowback works. Basically it hits like so, pulls back. So every time the piston moves, it's going back. And you have the small little spring up on top that pulls it forward. The piston's going to go back faster to the front just because it has a large spring. This little plate, like say if you're shooting it just kind of like sits around and goes to the back, maybe the spring is broken. But basically you have fake bolt forward, fake bolt forward, and then piston goes back, boom, it fires, pulls it back, goes forward, and this will follow because it's a weaker spring, boom, done. You know, it looks like it only travels that far and it locks. So that's pretty good. Very simple design. You need room for your spring up here. So that's interesting. But you have this small little peg here, and I remember the small loop that interact with the bolt. So this little eyelet with the extension will go on the gearbox side. I'm going to go ahead and put that in there, and it just kind of, it hangs there, it just chilling. So cool. Put the piston in. Make sure the piston is on the tracks, not at a weird angle. And let me go ahead and close it. Press down. Perfect, no spring, super easy. Now I'm just going to pinch, and I'm going to press and make sure the piston is on the tracks. And I'm looking in here and I see the piston is on the tracks, so that's good. I'm just going to slide it forward. Good. Makes it very easy when there's no spring tension. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put the gearbox screws back in, and it looks like they're all the conical type. You have the short ones on the top, the long ones down here. Very straightforward. I'm going to line them up, press this out of the way, and I'm going to go ahead and start tightening. Okay, now let me put the spring in there. Line that up, and I'm going to do the ghetto method. I do not have the correct Allen key, but I'm going to use a pair of pliers, and I'm going to twist. Oh, ooh, gentle, and rotate. You see how it slides in there, and you rotate, and it locks in place, basically flush. Now, if you're saying, hey, that's a very flimsy design, it's going to explode outward, you have this screw that goes from the buffer tube through the body into this and locks in place. So that keeps it in place. That's a good thing. Okay, now for the fake bolt, basically it just rests in here like so. But the tricky part is attaching the little spring. So I'm going to attach the spring like so. Hopefully you can see that. have the spring attached, and press it down like that. And what holds it in place is a small screw here, goes on the top. Just gonna go ahead and put that in place. It looks like there was another screw, maybe there's two of them, I don't know. This one just has one. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten. If I tighten down all the way, it's locked in place, that's bad. So I have to back it out just a smidge, and it moves freely. But yeah, there's another hole here for maybe another screw, like this one. I only have one on this, but unsure. Okay, now let's go ahead and put it back in the lower receiver. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and feed the wires through. I'm gonna put it on semi-auto mode, just so it lines up with the plate. And wiggle, done. And just like we do with other rifles, I'm going to insert a pin like that. Cool, it's lined up. And now I can grab that rear body pin, help line it up, and just gently tap it in. Cool. So now with this, it's basically lined up. If you have it at a weird angle and you put it on the pistol grip first, you might tighten it too much and then these holes aren't going to line up. But if you're able, okay, let me hurry up and get this done because GoPros are getting hot. I'm gonna go ahead and insert this pin and use a small. You want to have a wire on either side. It's still springy, that's fine. So it's different. So plug them in. Plug them in like that, still springy, but then the excess wires just kind of tuck it to the side and zigzag. Zigzag. You want to make sure that there's room for the screws, and also the wires aren't too close to the center part. Okay, flush, that's good. And let's go ahead and put the screws in. Okay, down. Okay. Test fire. Okay, so this is pretty cool. Basically, you pull the trigger, bolt comes back. So what I can pull it back, say if I had the bolt release, bolt catch, and I lock it back, which you can. If I pull it back all the way and it would be locked, I can still fire. See if there's obstruction, it's going to pull back. So say if there's some sort of jam on this thing, there could be problems. Just be mindful, but you're not going to have your upper receiver off. Let me go ahead and put that down. unplug, and then go ahead and finish putting this together. So kind of like a VFC, I'm going to go ahead and put this pin in here and look in the mag well, and you will see a little section how it locks into the bottom of the bolt catch. Line it up, and the trick is I'm going to use a small pin to kind of line up the holes like that, and then I'm going to use a larger punch pin just to sort of oops, missed it. Oh no. Okay, let me try that again. So I'm going to use, gotta reline it, line it up. Okay. Line that up. Use a small pin to basically lock it in place. Okay, and then I guess I'm going to hold this one so it doesn't pop out and just gently tap that. Okay, see, basically so they transfer over so it doesn't drop down. Now I can finish tapping this in. Cool, I scratched a little, that sucks. Okay, so now I can press. Basically, if I want to lock the bolt back, press on the bottom part, kind of like a real rifle, and I pull a charging handle so it's locked. Press this. Cool. Basically done. I'm going to go ahead and put the mag catch in, drop it in, flip it over, small little spring, and the little button and the small Phillips screw. The Phillips screw is a small, like, fine machine thread, so in case you lose this, you can find another spare screw at a hardware store, or just replace the mag release completely. Go ahead and hand tighten it. It's good. Okay, now for the stock ring and the buffer tube. On stock ring, make sure the wires have easy access through here. Go ahead and kind of straighten these out. These are kind of bulky to get past. Oh, and a side note, say if you're using your gun and you notice there's no more power, these sockets here, even though they're heat shrink, they might have ripped. Like say if the battery yanks out of your stock, you might have to check these if you see like coloration from the plastic being stretched. That's super rare though. Okay, so line this up, put it on, and you're good. Basically, I'm going to just drop this down the hole, and it should line up. Let me double check. Sounds like it. If you have a screwdriver with a light on it, that would be ideal. But if you don't, you just gotta poke in the dark. Okay, got it tightened. And for this, you have to hand tighten. You don't have a castle nut like for an AR wrench to tighten, so you pull and you screw in. So you might want to put maybe some Loctite on that screw or a tiny drop of super glue. Other than that, you're basically good to go. I'm going to zigzag these wires like so and shove in. Boom. And for the crane stock, I'm going to pull down and like that. If I wanted to get to the battery, I'd press these little tabs in and pull out just like you have for a VFC. And you put your batteries in here. So, which way does it go? Okay, there you go, flush, and done. Recording, good. Okay, now for the upper receiver, pretty straightforward. Ooh, that hop-up is tight. Okay, the hop-up is kind of, okay, there we go. It's a very tight fit. I'm just gonna go ahead and slide this in. Make sure that the fake bolt. It's okay. Line it up and it's flush. I usually just make it easier as I hold on and I kind of pull. So I can just slide this in and press it in without any tools. And that's basically it. So that's how you take apart the APS M4 RIS. This would work for all APS M4s because they have electric blowback. But make sure you guys go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Share this with your friends that have this gun, or they're thinking about maybe getting this gun and they want to know what kind of internals it has. And also make sure you guys check out the other videos I'll have linked below in the playlist on how to work on this gun and many others. So this has been Brian again. Thanks for watching and see you guys next time. See ya. Bye.